David, we are reporting on a story on cost of living and housing situation today, and a growing number of families in Queensland are being forced to sleep in their cars due to the rental crisis and rising cost of living. It's across the board, but several councils in Queensland have implemented new strategies, including funding a sleeping bus and providing shower options. St Vincent de Paul in Queensland, they're resorting to paying car registration fees to help families stay together, following the news that more than 10 million middle-income earners are set to face one of the largest tax increases in history. This sounds like it could potentially be getting worse.
Yeah, look, I mean, on a planning level, this has been an abject failure of state and local governments for decades. They hold the planning pen. And the fact that we've got a shortage of housing has shown that bureaucracy has got in the way at state and local government level. And to come up with some band-aid solutions, while is admirable, the fact is we need more supply. And that supply needs to also be pragmatic, having a pragmatic conversation with those who want to live in capital cities. If you live in a capital city, you may not be on the quarter-acre block that you used to be. It might have to go up, and we may have to have greater density of living with unit complexes rather than trying to go out and take up landscape, particularly productive agricultural landscape. So there's a real challenge here that state and local governments have really got to get moving on. They've dropped the ball on this. But in terms of the tax cuts that's coming that have been taken away, this is a cost of living crisis that this government has been blaming everyone for 12 months, but their actions, in fact, have fueled much of the inflation. They're going to have a $45 billion gorilla hit the capital markets in borrowing off-budget items for 28,000 kilometres of new transmission lines that you'll end up paying for as well in your electricity bill. They haven't been able to work through with energy companies, particularly gas, in increasing supply. So supply's gone down. We've been drawing down on gas reserves, and so prices have been going up. And instead of being at war with the gas companies, instead of working with them, increasing supply, putting pressure down on prices of energy, they've gone up. And that's also fed through to your grocery bill. The processing sector is paying a lot more for their energy to process the food and fibre that you enjoy. So this government's actions is leading to the inflationary pressures. And that's why we had challenges supporting some of the legislation they put through, whether that be on the manufacturing, $15 billion of borrowed money, $10 billion for the housing, and $25 billion in the first tranche of transmission lines, all of which they've got to pay interest for, and then try and get a return. And you're not spending all that on housing and manufacturing. They're trying to make a return above the interest they're paying. But when you put $45 billion into the competitive capital market, that means that it's pushing prices up in your mortgage every time they go to borrow more. So this is where the government can take real action without it costing the taxpayer a lot, if they're sensible and make sensible, common sense solutions to it by not having inflationary pressure by the decisions they make.
David Littleproud, we have to wrap it up, but before we let you go, we've got about 10 seconds to go. Would you like to share any Easter messages to our viewers today?
Oh, look, have a holy but safe and happy Easter, and just reflect on how lucky you are to live in this great country and to be with your family and friends. Have a great Easter.
Nationals leader David Littleproud, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.